ahead and introduce myself. My name is Tina McDermott, and I call this Tina's Joyful Kitchen. And I've been doing this for 20 plus years, and I can honestly tell you. Well, first of all, let me tell you, I call myself the inspirational lazy chef. You'll understand why in a little bit. I'm a speaker and a weight loss coach. 20 plus years I've been doing this, and I'll tell you, this is my love and my passion, and there's no place that I'd rather be literally than in my kitchen, teaching you how you can find joy in the kitchen, even if you don't know how to cook or even like to cook, because you deserve to have a life that's full of joy, full of health, full of vibrancy, and free from everything that you don't want, right? Okay, so we've got a couple people who are in, and you're ready to get started. If y'all are ready to get started, hit get started in the chat. I don't get to see your gorgeous faces. I don't get to see your gorgeous faces, which saddens me a little bit, but I really feel your energy when you're typing in the chat box with me. And I know that you're there and you're present with me. And any questions that you have throughout, please go ahead and type them in that chat box. Oh, and if you're just joining us, find that chat box. Tell us where you're calling in from and what beverage are you sipping on right now. Go ahead and find that chat box. Let me show me the love. Show me the love. There's one other thing that I wanted to say about Cancer Awareness Month. All of October, obviously, is Cancer Awareness Month, and I have lost my sister 9 years now. October would be 9 years to breast cancer. One of my sisters, and I don't understand why cancer is in this world, but I understand how to live healthy so that you don't, or I don't. Look, like my sister had breast cancer. I'm very, very, very high risk for breast cancer. So I teach people how, and myself and my family, we eat to prevent it, right? We eat to prevent it. So if you're in to learn how to cook and live and have some cancer awareness in your life, put a C in that chat box for me. Go ahead and put a C in that chat box for me that you are ready. You are ready for this week. All right, good. Caitlin, I got Caitlin. She gave me a big old C in there. Well, let's get started. The very first thing I want to show you, this is a spaghetti squash. I love spaghetti squash. When you learn to cook it properly, it's so much easier. You're going to turn your oven on. Now, the recipe that you have is a little different than the one I'm going to teach you today, because I recently been playing around with spaghetti squash and cooking it, and I found an even better way to cook it. Look, you can make things super easy. Wash it, of course. Poke a whole bunch of holes in it and throw it in the oven at 350 for about 40 minutes, 50 minutes, and then cut it open and scrape it out. But what I found is that the way that I'm going to show you to do it now, it's a little less watery. We don't want our spaghetti squash to be watery. We want it to be on the drier side. So we're going to cut it in half. We're going to get a little risque. We're going to grab our knives. And this is a nice butcher knife that has these little grooves. And what it does, it prevents, for the most part, prevents food from sticking to the knife. And a sharp knife is a safe knife. I know, it's weird, right? A dull knife is a dangerous knife. So you want a sharp knife. Make sure that you get them sharpened every single year. Because this is a little on the harder side, also round things you want to make flat. Oh, we're going to cut it in half. So I'm going to karate chop my hands. I'm going to, my fingers, I meant to say, and curl my fingers in, hold the spaghetti squash and flatten out my fingers this time, get them all out of the way, because we love our fingers and we do not want to chop them off. All right, we don't want to chop them off. So I'm going to cut this in half. What I should have done first was cut that stem piece off. And if you see me throwing scraps of food in the corner over there, I'm not just throwing them on the floor. Where do you think I'm putting my scraps of food? Does anybody have a clue where I'm putting my scraps of food? We're just going to get a spoon and we're going to dig out all of those seeds. If you wanted to, you could toast these seeds and eat them up. They're delicious. I'm not going to do that today, but we're just going to go ahead and do a close up here, Caitlin, so you can see close up. me just scraping out. See how simple it is to just scrape out all of those seeds. And let me do the other one here. See, I'm putting things in the compost, by the way. Putting things in the compost, I give it back to Mother Earth. We're going to give it right back to Mother Earth. You're going to get a regular spoon. You don't need anything fancy. People have all these fancy things for this and for that, and then you can't find them when you need them. A regular spoon, a knife, a fork, you can do almost everything that you need in the kitchen. You don't need a lot of fancy stuff. Okay, so there we go. We got all of the seeds out of our spaghetti squash. Who likes spaghetti squash? If you like spaghetti squash, put spaghetti squash in the chat. Oh, and if you've never eaten spaghetti squash but are curious about it, put a 1 in the chat. If you've never eaten spaghetti squash but you're curious about it, go ahead and put a 1 in the chat. Okay. Now, I love stoneware. I always cook on stoneware and wooden cutting boards. It just makes me feel closer to Mother Earth. Makes me feel like a cave woman. Not really, but yeah, it also, stoneware is wonderful because it bakes very evenly. Very rare will you burn anything in a stoneware. So I'm going to put just a little bit of olive oil, in the inside of that spaghetti squash, just a little bit. And I'm going to add a little bit of some sea salt. Okay, there we go. A little bit of sea salt in there. And I'm going to flip it over. We don't need this any longer. And I'm going to poke holes on the other side. You want to poke holes to vent it so that it doesn't explode. Not that it'll explode, but it might pop in there and we don't want that. So just put a whole bunch of holes in there. And now I'm going to put some water. Okay, I'm going to put a little bit of water, nothing much. Maybe a quarter cup. And we're going to put it in the oven at 400 degrees. And I will show you how it comes out because I already baked one. I already baked one for you. So this will go right in a hot oven. And you're going to bake that for about 40 minutes. You don't want to over bake it because then it will get watery, and we don't want it to be watery. Yeah, we definitely don't want it to be watery. All right, we have some more people joining us. Whoever, if you just joined us, go ahead and find that chat box. Tell me where you're calling in from and what beverage are you sipping on right now. Okay, now this is what it looks like when it comes out, because obviously I've cooked one for you already, so it would be ready. And I did it exactly like I did the one I just did for you. And you're just going to take a fork, look how easy this is. And we're going to take the inside out. Now, just because it's called spaghetti squash doesn't mean that you have to eat it like spaghetti, because you know, I'm Italian. I grew up making pasta with my mom, and there really is no substitute for pasta, right? There's no substitute for pasta. So when I look at spaghetti squash, I don't think pasta. I don't want you to think that, but I want you to think vegetable. I want you to think things that are wonderful for your body. Now, remember, this is Cancer Awareness Month, and we want to prevent it. And how many cups of vegetables do you think that you need to be eating on a daily basis? Like, why are we doing spaghetti squash versus pasta? Because we need to be eating as many fruits and vegetables as possible. We need to be eating as many of them as possible. Can anyone here guess about how many cups of fruits and vegetables you need to be eating on a daily basis? Can anybody? Go ahead and put it in the chat if you can take a guess as to how many cups of fruits and vegetables we need on a daily basis. Yeah, we need to have 10 to 12 cups of vegetables on a daily basis. Do you believe that? 10 to 12. And most people get 2, if none. Some people just get none. You don't think about the vegetables. And, you know, my philosophy on eating is if you need to be eating foods as close to the way that Mother Nature prepared them for us. And think of this, foods that walk, fly, swim, or grow. Foods that walk, fly, swim, or grow. Those are the foods that I want you to eat. Okay, foods that walk, fly, swim, or grow. And the more that foods have been processed, the worse they are for us. Why fruits and vegetables? Because they are full of antioxidants. They're full of fiber, which help us go to the bathroom and eliminate any waste in our systems, full of vitamins, minerals, I said antioxidants, phytic acids, anthocyanidins, all of these things that help, that are anti-inflammatory, that heal cells versus damage cells. What are things that damage cells? Things that damage cells, chemicals, anything that is a non-food, highly processed foods, things like MSG that they put in foods. Yes, they put MSG in so many packaged foods. It is absolutely incredible how many things that, how many packaged foods MSG is. MSG passes the blood-brain barrier and excites your brain cells until they die. So yeah, we're talking to anti-cancer here. We don't want to destroy our brain cells. And if it's doing that to your brain cells, what is it doing to the rest of the body, right? So we don't want that. Anyhow, we want to be eating foods close to Mother Nature. And that is why we are going to make spaghetti squash tacos. Now, I'm not anti-meat. I like, my philosophy is eat foods that walk, fly, swim, or grow. I'm okay with the walk. You just have to moderate, okay? You have to moderate and make sure you're eating more vegetables than anything else in the world. Who remembers how many cups of vegetables do we need on a daily basis? Who remembers? Go ahead and put that in that chat box. Put it in the chat box. How many cups of vegetables do you think we need on a daily basis? Actually, I gave you the answer already. All right, 10 to 12. Good. People are paying attention. I like it. I like it, like it, like it. Now, well, there we go. It's turned on. I'm going to use my cast iron skillet. Let me move this over a little bit. And we're going to flavor up this spaghetti squash. We're going to flavor it up. Induction burner, it gets a little upset if I turn it on and then I don't push a setting. So let's see, where do we want this? I'm going to heat this up and we're going to cut up some onions, okay? We're going to cut up some onions. Now, who wants to learn how to cut up an onion without crying? If you want to learn how to cut up an onion without crying, type cry in that chat box. Type cry in that chat box if you want to learn how to cut up an onion without crying. Anybody? Put cry in the chat if you want to learn how to cut up an onion without crying. All right, I'm going to show you anyway. I don't care what onion you use, by the way, it doesn't matter. But you see where these little tentacle things here, we want, think about hair on the head up. That is actually the root that was in the ground. They say if you take it out, you won't cry. So let's do a close up on this, Caitlin. And let's see what we're going to do. I'm going to get my paring knife and I'm going to go around that root bulb in a circle and pull it out. We're going to pull that out. You see that? And we're going to get rid of that. We're going to discard that because they say that that is what makes you cry. Now we're going to get rid of the peel. Get rid of the peel. Here it is. We don't need this. You can toss this away. Some people keep it for stocks and stews. You can do that too. I never have. My mom never taught me that. Remember what I said, round things, make them flat. So we're going to make it flat. And now I'm going to show you how to cut an onion without slip sliding all over the place and cutting your finger. So let's do another close up. And what I want you to do is score the onion. Don't cut it all the way through. You're going to score it. There you go. See, now it's not going to slip slide all over the place. Grip your fingers in so that they don't get hurt. Now that last piece that didn't get cut through, you're just going to cut it through right now. Good. Good, good, good. We're going to put that in the hot skillet. You hear that sizzle, sizzle, sizzle going on there. I'm going to throw that in there. And I did have a little bit of olive oil in the pan. Now, I didn't score this one. I'm so used to doing it without scoring it. I completely forgot to do it, but I already showed you that part. Now, never, ever, ever pick up your vegetables with your knife. A, it dulls the blade. B, you could cut yourself. So cut it out. Don't cut it out. Don't do that, okay? Use something else, either your hands or a little scraper, and much better for you. I must have a cut on my finger because the onion's stinging me. Okay, now with the onions, I'm sauteing those up. Cast iron skillet. Who loves a cast iron skillet? Who uses a cast iron skillet? Put cast iron in the chat if you use a cast iron skillet. If you have a cast iron skillet, but you don't use it, put a 1 in the chat. If you don't have a cast iron skillet and you have no clue why we should be eating cast iron skillets, put a 0 in the chat. Go ahead and put a 0 in the chat. I can talk all about cast iron skillets if you want to. You just let me know. Otherwise, I shall move on. I am cutting up some fresh garlic. Look, there's nothing wrong with using jarred garlic or powdered garlic for the most. Well, actually, let me rephrase that. We want as much immune boosting power in this world as possible, right? Would you agree? We want as much immune boosting power as possible. The powdered garlic or the jarred garlic, high heat, and it has literally destroyed all of the immune boosting properties of the garlic. So garlic is antiviral, antibacterial, antimicrobial, and we do not want any of those microbes in our body. We don't. You see how I'm just smashing it with the knife and just kind of mincing it with my knife? You don't have to mince it. I could have just thrown this in whole. I personally don't like to chomp into fresh garlic that is raw, but if it's cooked, I have no problem with it. Okay, so I'm just sauteing the onions up and the garlic up, making kind of a little sauce. You can put, let's put 3 cloves of garlic. I put 2 in there already. Let's put 1 more. And just watch how I'm doing it. Just smash it with the back of the knife. Cut off that little bulb at the bottom, and the peel, most of the time, there we go, comes right off. And you can give that back to Mother Earth. There we go. And I'm just going to chop up my garlic just a little bit, get the fingers out of the way, and saute those up. And I'm sauteing them in a little bit of olive oil in my cast iron skillet. Okay, now, if you have a cast iron skillet and you don't use it, take it out and use it. Take it out and use it. Is that Sarah that told me that you have one and you don't use it? Why don't you use it, Sarah? Why not? Why not? Are you afraid to use it? Is it rusty? Tell me what's going on with that. What's going on? I'm going to put a little bit of sea salt. I'm going to put a little bit of fresh ground black pepper in there. And like I said, we're going to make a little bit of a sauce here. So as that is cooking up, I'm going to add a couple things. I'm going to add some tomato paste. This is my handy dandy Pampered Chef can opener that I love, because the lid of the can won't fall into the food. And who here disinfects the lids of the cans? And who knows where that lid of that can has been? You don't know what has walked on top of that, or dust or anything like that. And so I love this. I love it, but it didn't open it all the way. There we go. Try it again. There we go. There's the lid. See, it didn't fall in, which is a bonus. Okay, we're going to get, it says about a 1/4 cup, but remember, I'm a little on the lazy side. And if you use half the can, you can't store it in the can. You have to store it in another container. And when am I going to use some more tomato paste? So I might as well just use it all. My husband gets mad because he's like, you never follow directions, do you? I said, no, I create the directions, honey. I create them. So I'm going to rewrite this entire recipe, and I'm going to say, put the whole can of tomato paste in there. Unless, you don't like tomato paste, and that's just it. A recipe is a guide map, right? If you don't like tomatoes, don't even add them in. Maybe you don't have tomato paste in the house and you have some fresh tomatoes. Put fresh tomatoes in there, okay? You just have to cook off the liquid a little bit more. With this particular recipe, we're going to be adding a little liquid anyway. So yeah, whatever you have, whatever you found at the market, you had some like tons of tomatoes from your garden that need to be eaten up, throw them in there. Okay. Now, just so I don't forget what I need to be putting in here, we're going to put some apple cider vinegar. If you don't have apple cider vinegar, use any kind of vinegar that you have. I'm going to put a couple tablespoons in there. Any kind of vinegar, lemon juice works, just an acid. You need an acid in there, okay? Apple cider vinegar, we're going to do a little bit of maple syrup. We want it a little sweet, I don't use regular sugar because it's highly processed. Remember what I had said about highly processed foods? You want foods as close to Mother Nature, prepare them for us as possible. And that means I am using pure maple syrup. I'm not using any of those syrups that you put on pancakes, or we use in this house maple syrup to put on our pancakes. Next, I'm going to put in, most people use soy sauce. I don't like soy sauce. It's high in estrogen, and we don't want high estrogen, especially when it comes to breast cancer. So, and also we don't want wheat in our body. Grains tend to inflame. So I'll use a tamari sauce sometimes. Actually, tamari is, it's organic, this, especially if it's organic, it is soy. So we're going to avoid the soy today, and I'm going to use coconut aminos instead. Coconut aminos, again, very much the same as the way you would use soy sauce, but they're called coconut aminos. About a tablespoon and a half of some liquid aminos. It gives it that salty umami flavor. Umami is just, it's just one of the flavors. They're sweet, they're sour, they're salty. There's sweet, sour, salty. What are all the flavors? Somebody help me out here. What are all the flavors? I'm missing them. Umami is just one of them. It's like, it's that flavor that you just can't put your finger on, but it's there. We're going to put just a little bit of cayenne pepper, not too much because it makes me cough and sneeze, and we can't have that during our cooking show. We're going to put a little bit of cumin in there. But you know what? If you don't like cayenne pepper, if you hate cumin, my gosh, you put anything with cumin in it, with my dad around, he will not be happy. This recipe calls for liquid smoke. And I thought that I had some liquid smoke here in the house, but apparently I don't. So what can you substitute? You want something that's smoky-ish, a smoky flavor. So I have some smoked paprika. So I'm just going to put about a quarter teaspoon of some smoked paprika. But here again, if you don't like that smoked flavor, don't use it. There's no obligation here. There's no obligation. But ooh, you can smell that smoked flavor. I can't breathe it in too much because I don't want to be coughing here. Okay. I'm going to add just a little bit of water. Thin it out just a little bit. All right. Thin it out just a little bit. Yeah, if you want some tips on how to use your cast iron skillet, if you have it and you just are not using it, let me know. I'm happy to talk to you all about that. So what we're doing is we're just making this flavorful sauce. I made a big spill over here. And now we're going to put the spaghetti squash right in here. I want to make sure that I got everything. Cayenne pepper, we put a little bit of sauce. Salts, we could have put the coconut aminos in there. Here we go. Oops. Spaghetti squash going right in. Spaghetti squash going right in. Okay. Now, remember I was saying there's nothing wrong with meat. Okay. Well, there are some things that are cancer promoting when it comes to animal protein. Again, I'm not against animal protein. Do we have any vegetarians in the group? If we have vegetarians or vegans, please let me know. Some of the issues with meats are how the animals are raised, right? And the antibiotics and the genetically modified injections that they get and the way that they're treated. So if you're going to be eating animal protein, eat sustainable animal protein. I always get grass-fed, grass-finished beef from local farms. There's local farms around here. Pastured pork, wild caught fish, pastured chickens, pastured eggs, things like that. And we only need to be eating small amounts, literally the size of your palm, a couple of meals a day. 4 ounces for women, about 6 ounces for men. We don't need as much. When we eat too much protein, it forms a mucus in our body, and our bodies have a hard time detoxing. And we're detoxing on a normal basis. We are. But when we're having too much in our system, it's very difficult for our lymphatic system to get rid of those toxins. So that's why we don't want to overeat our protein. Now, with these tacos, if you want, You can add a little chicken to this. You could add a little maybe salmon to this, or just eat them just the way they are. And they're wonderful, wonderful, wonderful. I am going to turn this off. Actually, let me cook that for just a few more moments. I want to dry it up just a little bit more because I put all that tomato paste in there and it's just a little liquidy. Not a big deal. Not a big deal. Feel free to not have to follow recipes to the T, to just kind of experiment with things, kind of like I do. I experiment on a daily basis every time I redo a recipe here. Okay, actually, I am going to turn that off, and then we're going to go and make the slaw. All right, if you like coleslaw, put coleslaw in the chat or slaw in that chat box. Let me see some slaw in that chat box. Slaw in that chat box. Now, we can cheat and buy slaw that's already in a bag, right? We can cheat, buy some slaw that's already in a bag, or we can get our mandolin and make our slaw as we go, right? Get your cabbage, it's super easy. Get some carrots, grate them right up. Why not throw an onion in there? But you know what? Why not cheat? And I know you're like, Tina, why are you cheating? Well, because it's an hour show and I want to make sure that I get everything in here for you during this hour show. Okay. And we got a lot of things that are going on. So I'm going to cheat a little bit unless somebody wants to see me use the mandolin. If you want to see me use the mandolin, I will show you how to use the mandolin. Put mandolin in the chat if you want to see me use the mandolin. Happy to show you. So you let me know. Now I'm going to make an avocado slaw. And let's see, where is that paring knife? Very simple. We're going to get our ripe avocados. Now I buy them hard and I let them sit out for a few days with other fruits in a big basket. And then once they are soft-ish, then I'll put them in the refrigerator and they will last in the refrigerator for a couple of weeks sometimes. So get rid of that pit. I'm going to score it. This is just an easy way to get it out. Use your spoon and scoop out the flesh. I'm putting it in a blender because we're going to make an avocado sauce for our slaw. An avocado sauce for our slaw in our blender. Here we go. Here we go. I'm going to put, it's a lot of slaw in that package. So I'm going to do 2 avocados. Remember, get rid of that pit. You can put your thumb behind it and 2 fingers in front and pop it out. Isn't that fun? Isn't that fun? I learned that and I'm like, oh, I got to show people how to do that. So fun. So fun. Who loves avocados? Put avocado in the chat if you love avocados. I love them. I eat avocados all the time. All the time. Okay, so get that out. We're going to put a little bit more garlic. Why do we need garlic? Tell me, why do we need garlic in our lives? Fresh garlic, because it is antibacterial, antiviral, antimicrobial. You don't need to know all of that. All you need to know is that it boosts your immune system. I'm going to put just 1 clove in there because raw garlic is a little harsh, I think. We're going to put the garlic. We're going to put about 2 tablespoons of apple cider vinegar. Do you like the way I measured that? I think I put too much, but oh well. And I might thin it out with a little bit of almond milk or water. You don't have to have almond milk. You can do it with just water. Okay, this is my Vitamix. You don't need a Vitamix. You can do whatever blender you want. Whatever blender you want, you use. Okay. Do we want some salt and pepper? Yeah, we want some salt and pepper in here. Hold on a second. Let me put a little bit of salt. A little bit. I'll put the pepper right on here. It'll be easier. If you don't already have a pepper grinder, get one. Use peppercorns. They are so delicious and so much, they pop the flavor so much more than the very highly processed powdered pepper that you buy. Okay, so buy the peppercorns, get yourself a pepper mill under 10 bucks. The best thing you'll get, one of the best things you'll have in your kitchen. So we're just going to blend it up and make this nice and creamy. If we feel like we need to get a little bit more liquid in there, you can use some almond milk, you can use some water, whatever you have, whatever you want. Okay, that almond milk kind of spilled out, but that's okay. And you know what else you could do with this? you could put a little bit of olive oil in there. I'm Italian. Olive oil goes great with everything. Everything, I tell you. Everything, everything, everything. Okay. Who loves olive oil? Put olive oil in the chat if you just love olive oil and eat it. I eat it all the time. I eat it all the time. Okay. Now, here we go. That is our dressing for the coleslaw. If you don't want to use an avocado dressing, which avocados are so good for you, you could use a mayonnaise, which I will show you the mayonnaise in just a few moments. Okay. You could use a good mayonnaise for this along with some apple cider vinegar and salt and pepper. But the avocados, my gosh, they are so good for you. Love avocados. Love them, love them, love them, love them, love them. Okay. Here we go. We'll put that aside. And let me see. We're going to get a fork and a big spoon. I'm telling you, there's so much that you can do with just a fork and a spoon. And we're going to toss that about. People think that they need more dressing than they do, but sometimes less is best. Sometimes less is best, okay? And what you do want to do, and I won't do it while we're on the show, you do want to taste a little piece to make sure that you've salted it properly and that you've put enough, maybe pepper, and maybe if it's not enough, then go ahead and put some more. Now, we're going to assemble our tacos. Before we assemble our tacos, I want to get something prepped for our next dish. Our next dish is going to be a broccoli salad. And I need to get something prepped so that it is ready in time, which will only be a few minutes. It'll only be a few minutes. So we're going to just get something started here. This is my steam pot. Okay, that's the bottom part. It's got water in it. I just put it on to boil. And we're going to make a raw broccoli salad, right? And raw broccoli, first of all, broccoli is definitely anti-cancer, wonderful for your brain. It is an amazing food. You should be eating it often. But raw broccoli is difficult to digest because of the outer cellulose layer is just very difficult, okay? Very difficult on your body. And these stems, a lot of people throw them away. I love them. And if you've ever had broccoli slaw, that's what they use, the stems. It's actually very, very sweet, but you got to cut off that outer layer. What I'm going to do is I'm going to lightly steam the broccoli for this salad. Now, when I'm eating steamed broccoli for dinner, I will have, I'll steam it for 10 minutes. Today for this raw broccoli salad, I'm only going to steam it for 3 minutes. That's it, just 3 minutes. By the way, I've already washed my broccoli. And see how easy it is? You just get your paring knife in there. Who loves broccoli? Put broccoli in the chat if you love broccoli. If you love broccoli, put broccoli in that chat box. All right. I love broccoli. My husband loves broccoli. I think we eat it 3-4 times a week. We love it so much. If not, and cruciferous vegetables, specifically cruciferous vegetables like your cauliflower, your broccoli, your Brussels sprouts, your onion. No, those are the alliums. Very, very good for anti-cancer. So eat as much broccoli as you can, or cauliflower. All right, so I just needed 3 minutes on this. Can I get a 3-minute timer, please, my lovely Caitlin? And we'll check it in 3 minutes and see if we feel like it's ready. Thank you, dear. Okay, next, what are we going to do next? We're going to assemble our tacos. We're going to assemble our tacos. And here we go. I have some nice corn tortillas. Corn, I like corn tortillas versus the flour. Corn is a little less processed than flour. It doesn't have gluten in it. And something my husband taught me to do a long time ago. And you're going to go to a stovetop. I know I'm far away from you here, but literally you're just going to turn the gas on if it wants to turn on. And it doesn't for some reason. How weird. All right, I'll have to move the bacon. And I'm just going to put the corn tortilla right on the flame. And I'm gonna let it cook there for just 30 seconds. Don't leave it. Just let it cook for a few seconds, flip it over until it gets a little warm. When you serve this warm, oh my gosh, it makes such a difference when you serve it warm. You can serve them cold. My husband and I went to a taco place in Annapolis the other night. And it was called Taco Vida, and you order, a la carte tacos, and the shells were cold. I don't like the shells cold. I want them warm before you get them. I mean, before you eat them. You want them a little on the warm side. They taste so much better. Now, while that's heating up, I also want to show you, if you don't want to do corn tortillas, you can just eat this with a fork, or I found these cheese wraps. This one's a mozzarella cheese wrap that you can use this instead as your tortilla. And let's see, it's been out of the fridge for half an hour, so it might be a little on the melty side. Let's see if I can get this out without ruining it. Oh, told you, don't leave them. You start a fire. I started a fire. Oh, well. Put the next one on there. Turn it lower. Caitlin, remind me to get that in 30 seconds. Okay. Here we go. Yeah, I had this out of the refrigerator for half an hour. I shouldn't have. It will come out a lot easier if it was nice and cold. But there's this sheet of mozzarella that, okay, Tina, patience. Patience. I am failing at this. But you know what? Life is messy. Wash your hands. Be fine. Even if I have to eat this one with a fork. So yeah, so those of you who are keto, not that I believe in doing keto 100%, but if you don't want the corn, you could always do that cheese wrap. Okay, there we go. Okay. So here we go, our nice warm tortillas, our cheese wrap. There we go. And we're going to get our spaghetti squash, put that in there. Little spaghetti squash in each of them. I'm telling you, the mozzarella one I'm going to have to eat with a fork, but oh well. And then you're going to get your coleslaw and put your slaw right on top. Put your slaw right on top. Remember, we need to be eating how many cups of vegetables a day? 10 to 12 cups of vegetables. So the more slaw, the more spaghetti squash. Look how many cups of vegetables you're getting right here in these meals. So there we have it, our spaghetti squash tacos with avocado slaw. Ta-da! All right, let's go check on that broccoli. I'll be right back. Put this over here. Yum, yummy, yummy, yum. You know, there's nothing like preparing foods in your own kitchen because you know where those foods have come from. They've come from your love of putting things together for your family. All right. And all right, so and for yourself, right? Okay, we're going to get our broccoli. Ideally, you'll cool this off, but look how bright. Go ahead and do a close-up on this. Look how bright that broccoli is. Look how bright from when I put it in till now, it just brightened it up a little. Okay, you can see that. I'll get it a little closer to the camera. Look how bright it is. Okay, there we go. Put this in the sink for now. And you know, we've seen these broccoli salads and they're full of bad for you mayonnaise and a whole bunch of other things, but I'm going to show you how to make this broccoli salad healthy. We want healthy, we want anti-cancer, we want to live a long, healthy life, right? And this is how we're going to do it. Let me put this stuff away. Let me get all of my ingredients out. I'm going to get the bacon because we cannot forget, we have to remember the bacon, right? Earlier, I made some bacon and you're like, Tina, this is anti-cancer. Yes, and it's okay to have a little bit of bacon, right? Not the bacon bits in a jar. They're full of MSG, they're full of other chemicals, who knows what else. Also, they're cured, which means that they have nitrites and nitrates on them. And those chemicals preserve the meat and sugars, by the way. And if it's preserving the meat, think about what is it doing to you? What is it doing to your body? So we want to, if we're going to be eating bacon, which I think is a good thing to have a little bit of, no sugar, and it should say uncured. I saved the package for us. Uncured bacon, okay? That means it does not have nitrites, does not have nitrates, and those are the chemicals that could potentially cause cancer. Potentially. I'm not saying that they do, but they could potentially cause it, okay? What I did is I just laid all the pieces out on my stoneware and I baked them. The trick to baking bacon is heating up your oven to 400 degrees. And I love the stoneware. It never burns my bacon, always crisps it. I was at the beach house this summer and I only had one stone there and one aluminum tray. So I cooked 1 pound on each. The aluminum tray in 20 minutes burned to a crisp, and the one on my stoneware, which I'm used to using, did not burn. Look how beautiful it came out. Came out beautiful. So yeah, don't use those bacon bits. If you're going to eat bacon, I want, if you love bacon, put bacon in the chat. If you love bacon, put bacon in the chat. I cooked them for about 20 minutes and then I checked them. And I think I cooked them again for another 3 minutes. I wanted to get it a little on the crispy side. And here we go. I'm just chopping it up and I'm going to put that right in the salad. I save the bacon grease from this and I feed it to the dogs. Sometimes I save a little bit to cook eggs with. It's not terrible for you. It's terrible. What's terrible about bacon is the sugar and the nitrites and the nitrates. That's what's terrible about bacon. Yes, it's got fat in it. You can have a little bit of fat. That's not the terrible part. That's what you've been told, but I'm here to tell you a little different. It's okay to have a little bit of bacon. So we've got our bacon. The other thing I want to put in here, what I did is I toasted up some sunflower seeds. Again, a little stoneware in my toaster oven. I toasted up some sunflower seeds, so I'm going to throw those on top. A little bit crunch in our salad, a little more crunch in our salad. And many people like raisins in their broccoli salad. I do not like raisins, so I was going to throw in some grapes. You can cut them in half, you can make them whole, however you want to do it. I'm going to throw in some grapes. You can throw in craisins, you can throw in some raisins, you can throw in cherries, just a little something sweet. You can also do cheese in this salad. You also do cheese. This is super simple, and it's delicious. Now, again, I steamed it so it's easier to digest. And that's what you want, something that's a little easy to digest. Don't worry too much. I already made the dessert, so I'll show you the dessert, the fantasy cake for one in just a minute. What I did is I got some mayonnaise. Normally I make my own mayonnaise, but I wanted to show you how easy it is to buy it. I always get, it's called Vegan-A's grapeseed oil. I don't like olive oil in mayonnaise, and I don't want soy oil in mayonnaise for many reasons, okay? So we're gonna put a little bit of mayonnaise in there, and we're gonna put a little bit of apple cider vinegar. You can do lemon juice here too if you want. I like the apple cider vinegar. And I wanna make sure that I'm doing it right. Okay, good. Here, this is what I need. And I'm just going to stir that up. Sometimes I'm lazy and I just put it right on top, but I have a smaller bowl and it will be a little messy. So I'm just going to mix that up in here. Remember, bacon already has salt. If you want to add a little pepper to this, you can. I choose not to put pepper in this particular salad. And there we have it. There we have it. We've got our mayonnaise right in there. We're going to stir that up. Again, if you want to cut those grapes up, you can cut them up. If you want to cut your broccoli up into smaller pieces, if you want to add some cheese here, remember the world is your oyster. You don't have to follow a recipe to the T. You can use whatever you're inspired to use in your recipes. You can cut up your bacon a little smaller if you wanted to. And look how pretty that is. Look at bright and beautiful broccoli. So there we have it, our broccoli salad. All right, there we go. All right, let me put this aside and let's get into that fantasy cake for 1 or 2 or 3 people. How many fantasy cakes do you want to make? Okay, let me clean up a couple things real quick. How quick?
And Tina, a question came in. Any substitutions or suggestions for mayo substitutes?
And sure, you can use Greek yogurt. Let me ask you this: why do you need a mayonnaise substitute? Is it an allergy? What is it that you don't want that the mayonnaise has? Just curious. What is it that you don't want? You're repulsed by mayo. Yeah, you know what? You don't have in that broccoli salad. You don't have to use mayonnaise. You can use, if you like, you're repulsed by it. I get it. You can use the Greek yogurt. You can simply just use a little bit of olive oil, or no dressing at all. No dressing at all, and just eat it the way it is. Maybe some avocado. Avocado would be nice in there. Ooh, that sounds like a good idea. Some avocado with make that avocado dressing that we made for the slaw and put that in there. Okay, what I'm making is a fantasy cake. That was butter. I got organic butter. It's supposed to be unsalted, but I couldn't find unsalted. And I'm halving the recipe. I am not making the recipe in a big dish. I'm going to make them in a little ramekins. We're going to make them in little ramekins. Okay, this is how I'm going to do them. And instead of, I don't use Pam. If I'm going to use a spray oil, it will have no propellants. And this one's an avocado spray. So I'm just going to spray the inside. You could put parchment paper in there, cut up a little bit of parchment paper and put them in each of those. But I'm not going to do that. The avocado oil is just as good. And then we're going to get some really good dark chocolate. I have some dark chocolate that I get down the street from Aldi's called Moser. I think it's German chocolate. 85% chocolate. So it's pure chocolate basically. And that's what you want. You don't want chocolate that has added sugars in it or milk in it. You don't want any of those things. You want some really good chocolate. And I'm going to put about a cup of chocolate in here. I don't know if I have enough. That's not really a cup. Let's see what else I have. Oh, look at this. I have a chocolate bar from a company called Lily's. And this chocolate bar is it's 58%, but it's also doesn't have sugar. It has stevia in it. It's got stevia in it. So I'm going to put a little bit of that in there. And I'm going to put it in a double boiler. And I'm going to let that melt. I'm just going to let that melt in my double boiler. Mind you, it's the same pot I steamed my broccoli in, right? Same pot. And while that's melting, I'm going to get the rest of my ingredients together. You can use chocolate chips, but remember, when you're getting chocolate, you want really good chocolate. Don't chintz on your chocolate. Just don't. You don't need to. Okay. Now I'm going to get the rest of the ingredients together. Oops, I can't use that. Let's see what I'm going to use. Give me a couple seconds here. I'm going to get the rest of my ingredients together here and then bring them over there. Okay, we're going to do some espresso powder. It gives it that chocolatey flavor. Who here is a chocoholic? I'm a chocoholic. Who else is a chocoholic? Self-confessed chocoholic. Anybody else? Anybody else? Self-confessed chocoholic. I am. I love chocolate. I think it's God's gift to this earth. I'm going to do a little bit of that espresso powder. Espresso powder. We're going to do about a tablespoon of some vanilla extract. Do not chintz on your vanilla extract. Get some really good organic vanilla. You will be happy that you did that. Oh, I forgot to get eggs out. And we're going to do a little bit, about a quarter cup of some Dutch cocoa. I use this, I get them different kinds. I like the organic one I get from My Organic Market. It's just powder, cocoa powder, okay? And we're going to do, I don't do sugar, but I'll do monk fruit. When I'm baking, I'll use monk fruit confectioner's sugar. And I'm just getting all my ingredients together here. Do about a half a cup. It's very sweet. You don't need a lot. And when you don't eat sugar that much, a little bit goes a long way. A little bit goes a very, very, very long way. Okay, let's go. I'm going to go back to my stovetop. Sorry, it's not right in front of you, but I didn't have another pan that would go on my induction burner. Okay, I'll bring this over in just a minute. I'll bring it over in just a minute and I will put that in there. Give me a second here. I'm gonna go get some eggs. We forgot to bring the eggs out. That's okay. I'm gonna show you how easy this is. Easy, easy, easy peasy to make. It's so easy that I'm making it for you in the last 5 minutes of our show. That's how easy it is, okay? Remember, I'm halving the recipe, so I'm only gonna do 3 eggs. 3 eggs, let's see what's going on over here. See if all my chocolate melted. It's almost ready. And don't worry, I made them before, so I'm going to show them to you in just a few moments, okay? You know, I want you to think about, this has been so much fun, and I know we're not done. We're not done yet. It's been a lot of fun being together with you today and cooking for you. And I have a free gift. It is my Joyful Gut Reboot Guide. And Caitlin is going to put a link in the chat for you. And as I'm finishing making this chocolate cake for you, I want you to think, what have you found most valuable about our time together today? What is that one thing that you're like, yes, I got that. I got that. I'm going to use that. Yeah. What is that one thing? Or 2 things or 3 things or whatever they might be. See that beautiful dark chocolate? I'm going to put all the extra stuff in there. The cocoa powder, the powdered sugar, the vanilla, the espresso powder. I'm going to mix that all up in there. Mix it all together. Yeah, I'd love to know, what have you found most valuable about our time together? And I'm going to be with you once a week this month. Really looking forward to seeing everybody and spending time with you. And yeah, so I've got all that mixed in. And now I'm going to whip up my eggs real quick. Just whip them up, nothing crazy. Don't overbeat them. And now I'm going to pour the eggs in there and you're going to stir it. The eggs will start to cook a little bit. Just keep stirring. And then we're going to bake this in the oven for, when you're putting it in ramekins, 12, 13 minutes at 350, okay? If you're doing it in one big pan, then you're going to do it for 20 minutes, okay? I'm just trying to incorporate all the egg right in with that chocolate. Almost there. And then I'm going to show you the finished product in just a moment. There we go. And now we're just going to pour them right into our little ramekins, and then we'll put them into the oven. There we go. This is a little on the hot side, but that's okay. Okay. And I'll show you the finished product in just a few moments. Okay, those go right into the oven. And I'll put those in a few minutes. Okay, let me show you the finished product. These are ones that I made last night. And in my little ramekins, get a knife. Yeah, I'd love to know, what have you found most valuable about our time together today? There you go. See, now you've got that cake for one. And I'm going to serve it with a little pinch of mint. And raspberries are wonderful, anti-cancer, little berry wonderful things. So I'm going to serve it with a couple of berries. There we go. And there we have it, our chocolate fantasy cake for one. There we have it. All right. Well, thank you very much for being here today. It has been a delight and a joy to cook for you. Our spaghetti squash. I was always have a hard time saying spaghetti squash. Our spaghetti squash tacos, our broccoli salad, and our fantasy cake for one. Voila. Thank you, thank you, thank you. And until next time, namaste. Bye for now, everyone. We'll see you next week. Bye for now. Have a great day.